ABC30 Action News starts now with breaking news.
President Biden drops his re-election bid after intense pressure within his own party to pass the torch. History unfolding tonight, even as his closest aides did not see it coming. Team coverage starts now on the president's decision to stand down and the uncharted waters ahead for election 2024, now only 107 days away. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for Action News Live at 6 on this Sunday. I'm Margot Kim.
And I'm Nick Garcia. ABC's Caroline Goggin is outside President Biden's beach house in Delaware and has more on his stunning decision to drop out, his quick endorsement of Vice President Kamala Harris, and what former President Trump is saying about all of this.
This monumental decision from President Biden comes as he's isolating at his beach home here in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, as he recovers from COVID-19. We're told that the president has been here for the past week now. He's been speaking with a small group of confidants about this decision, but we're also told that some of his staff members and the vice president's staff members were shocked when this announcement was made earlier today. In a letter posted to X on Sunday afternoon, President Biden addressed the country, saying, "It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president. And while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term." Biden went on to endorse Vice President Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee. Harris issued a statement about that this afternoon, saying, "I am honored to have the president's endorsement, and my intention is to earn and win this nomination. I will do everything in my power to unite the Democratic Party and unite our nation to defeat Donald Trump and his Extreme Project 2025 agenda." Former President Trump also responded to the announcement this afternoon, posting on Truth Social, "Crooked Joe Biden was not fit to run for president and is certainly not fit to serve and never was. All those around him, including his doctor and the media, knew that he wasn't capable of being president, and he wasn't." This decision from President Biden is historic. A presidential nominee has never bowed out of the race so close to the general election. We know the Democratic National Convention is just a matter of weeks away, and the general election set to be held on November 5th is just a matter of months away. While the president continues to recover here in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, we are told he is expected to address the nation about this decision some point later this week. In Rehoboth, Delaware, I'm Caroline Goggin, ABC30 Action News.
We now turn to Action News reporter Gabe Ferris, who joins us with the latest local reaction. Gabe?
Nick and Margot, Valley Republicans I spoke with today say they're not sure President Biden is fit enough to remain in office, but Valley Democrats are supporting the president as their party must now nominate a new ticket.
With the country's best interest in mind as he does things, he is stepping down. He is endorsing Kamala Harris.
Valley Democrats rushing to President Biden's side on Sunday, applauding the president's choice to step aside and cancel his bid for a second term in the White House. The first vice chair of the Fresno County Democratic Party commending the president's announcement.
It's a matter of strength. I mean, I think he's showing a lot of integrity to do this at this time.
Republicans now piling on, raising questions about Biden's ability to remain in the presidency for 6 more months. Former Valley Republican Representative Connie Conway has her own concerns.
I don't know how he plans on doing this because he says he's not going to run and yet he's going to stay. He has a lot of physical impairments. He has a lot of things going on.
While former President Donald Trump has passionately criticized President Biden's record, ABC News reporting Trump's advisors had privately hoped President Biden would stay in the race.
Our country is based on laws and rules, and we need to follow them. If you put the shoe on the other foot, I'm sure they'd do the same thing to us.
The political back and forth comes as Democrats are against the clock to unify and nominate a new ticket. As some call for an open process, Biden has endorsed his vice president and former California Senator Kamala Harris.
She has a long political history, one that has been of leadership, again, integrity, and I believe that she is the logical choice. I don't think we can have 15 people throwing their hats in the ring now.
Of course, Vice President Harris has name recognition here in California from her time as Senator and Attorney General, and California delegates will play a key role at the Democratic Convention in just a few weeks. The state will send nearly 500 delegates. That's more than any other state. Margot, Nick.
Thank you, Gabe. Governor Newsom released a statement tonight praising President Biden, saying he will go down in history as one of the most impactful and selfless presidents.
Newsom then ended all speculation that he might run for president and endorsed his former California colleague, Vice President Harris, saying in part, quote, tough, fearless, tenacious. With our democracy at stake and our future on the line, no one is better to prosecute the case against Donald Trump's dark vision and guide our country in a healthier direction than America's Vice President Kamala Harris, end quote.
Fresno Democratic Congressman Jim Costa called on President Biden to step aside from the race for the White House late last week. Today, he released a statement praising President Biden's decision, saying in part, quote, President Biden acted yet again as our nation's leader when he made one of the bravest and most difficult decisions of his career by putting the interests of the American people first. We need to praise him for his legacy of leadership and long list of accomplishments.
Longtime Valley Democrat Henry Perea joins us now live in studio.
Perea, as you know, ran for Fresno mayor in 2016. He also served on the city council, the Fresno County Board of Education, and the Board of Supervisors.
Mr. Perea, we'd like to get your perspective on today's historic decision by the president to step aside.
Yes, well, I mean, I think we were all surprised today by him making this decision. However, I don't think we're completely surprised that it was coming. I mean, there was a lot of pressure coming on him, not just from the visible campaign by Donald Trump to attack his age, his abilities, but there was pressure coming from the Democratic Party too. So I think, like a lot of folks are saying, the president made the right decision, keeping the country first and his party second, and I think he made a good decision. Step aside now, it kind of wipes the slate clean, and we're going to move forward with another candidate.
Henry, giving us some historical perspective, this is historic but not unprecedented. Lyndon B. Johnson in 1968 withdrew from the presidential race as an incumbent president, but that was under pressure during the Vietnam War.
Correct.
This is under pressure from his own party. So give us some historical perspective on what this means for the country.
Well, I mean, it is unprecedented, of course, but I think there was a lot of decisions made in the last week or so where, you know, people knew that the attacks were strong coming from this side, and they were expected. That's what campaigns are about. But I think the floodgates opened at that debate. You know, I think what it did is open the door for folks to question whether he was prepared to continue moving forward as our candidate. And personally, I think he's done a phenomenal job the last 3.5 years, and I think he'll finish strong this term. But I think he made the right decision to step aside and say, okay, maybe this hasn't happened before in these exact circumstances, but I'm doing it for the good of the country and the good for the party.
You know, many top Democrats already jumping to endorse Vice President Kamala Harris in her bid for the White House. Of course, notably the Clintons, but there are some notably not on that list quite yet. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, and probably the biggest voice, former President Barack Obama, not jumping in to endorse her quite yet. Right. How is she going to be able to, or how are the Democrats going to be able to unite the party?
Well, obviously, you know, campaigns are about strategy. It's about positioning yourself for, you know, for the moment. And in this case, what we're looking at is how will we fare in those swing states that we need to win this presidency. So I think that's the discussion that's occurring now. If Kamala Harris stays as the nominee, then who is number two to bring that in, or vice versa? Who do you bring at the top of the ticket and keep Vice President Harris to keep that part of the ticket solidified? So I mean, there's a lot of conversation going on now, but I think the opportunity and the benefits that the Democrats have that maybe the Republicans don't is we have a very deep bench of very talented people. And I think what we're going to see is probably a mini convention take place in the next few weeks. I think the important thing for the Democrats is that we keep it straight on the facts, just make it, you know, in other words, not have a food fight. You know, let's see if we can't have a process that vets all the candidates, you know, pretty quickly, and then move forward with the selection of whether we keep Kamala Harris as the top of the ticket person, or she stays second and somebody else comes in.
Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance has reacted to the announcement of President Biden's and of course now the presumptive nominee moving forward in Kamala Harris. Other GOP leaders have also weighed in. What is the perspective then from the GOP side in moving forward with now having to switch up and pivot their campaign?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say there's exactly panic in the GOP, but I think there's a lot of concern right now because, I mean, they have built a strategy this past year on attacking President Biden's fitness for duty, basically, and his age. Okay, well, that's gone now. So they're going to have to reposition their entire campaign, and the thing right now is they don't know who to pivot it with. So it's going to be very difficult for them. I mean, personally, I think Senator Mark Kelly out of Arizona would probably be a very top candidate. I mean, when you mentioned J.D. Vance, I mean, if I were to compare the military credentials of both, I mean, here you have Mark Kelly, an astronaut. You have he was a captain. He served in the Iraq theater. You know, he was a combat pilot. I would put that experience against J.D. Vance any day of the week, and I think they're going to be doing that, whether he's at the top of the ticket or number 2. So it's going to be an interesting next few months.
To say the least.
Yeah, absolutely. We certainly appreciate your input. Thank you, Henry Perea, for joining us and providing that very critical political perspective.
Thank you.
Henry.
Appreciate it.
We'll continue our coverage of President Biden's decision to drop out right here on Action News. You can get up-to-the-minute updates at ABC30.com and our ABC30 Central California app on both mobile phones and wherever you stream.
Flames tear through a mobile home park in Mariposa County, devastating more than a dozen people.
The early morning tragedy and the investigation into how this fire started.
Then applauding probation officers. Tulare County recognizes the work of those dedicated to keeping the community safe.
Over a dozen people are looking for a place to stay tonight after a destructive fire at a trailer park in Mariposa County. The flames broke out in the Coulterville community early this morning. It destroyed 6 mobile homes, forcing 17 people out of their homes. The Mariposa County Sheriff's Office says power at the facility will be out for days. The Red Cross is providing hotel rooms, food, and clothing for the families affected and their pets. It's not clear yet how this fire started.
Today is the start of Probation Services Week, and officers and staff are being honored in the South Valley. The Tulare County Board of Supervisors proclaimed the week starting today and running through Saturday. Throughout the week, Tulare County Probation will highlight the work it does to change lives and help the community.
Central California has more sweltering days ahead.
Oh yeah, here's a live look now from our North Fresno Skycam on this Sunday. Sun just going down there. Tiffany Olin is tracking the workweek forecast with the return of AccuWeather heat alerts. Next.
Tiffany Olin is here with the forecast, and day by day as summer goes in the valley, we see those temperatures climb right back up into the extremes.
Yeah, so we are going to see those AccuWeather alerts back in place tomorrow. I hope you like the warmth because it is going to just keep getting hotter. And we did even have a little bit of some thunderstorm activity over the last 3 hours. So this is a loop of that, and you can see over the Sierra some cloud to ground strikes actually just on the border of Fresno County up into the higher terrain, even approaching Mammoth, and that's still going to be the case as we go into the next several afternoons. So if you do have plans to travel there, keep that in mind. But here in Fresno, we do have those triple digits even now. 101 in the next hour, those triple digits sticking around. 90s returning as we go into those overnight hours, so 90 degrees if you're going to bed at about 10 o'clock tonight. But as I mentioned, we are going to see a little bit more thunderstorm activity as we go into tomorrow afternoon as well. So this is about 1 o'clock. We start to see that activity ramp up in the southern Sierra, moving a bit more widespread across the entire mountain range as you go into the evening, and that's going to be the case over the next several afternoons. On top of that, still some haze out there, so still some fires burning in the Sequoia National Forest, giving them a bit more of some heavier smoke and haze. That's what you see in that black or even dark gray on the screen. The rest of us in blue indicating some lighter haze and smoke. We do have some moderate air quality all across the region tomorrow, so this is a bit of some improvement compared to what we saw today. But also tomorrow, that excessive heat warning does go in place place 11 a.m. tomorrow, lasting through 11 p.m. on Wednesday. Even after that, those triple digits are going to stick around. But the important factor is that we're not going to get any relief overnight. Those overnight temperatures are going to remain fairly warm. Tonight, 76 degrees. So Fresno still warm tonight, 68, a little cooler in Merced, 71 for Reedley as well as Exeter. Tomorrow, those AccuWeather alerts go in place. 109. It is going to be very warm outside. Plenty of sunshine. 106 in Merced, 107 for Visalia. If you want to go to the foothills, you are going to see a little bit more haze there, and we do have those AccuWeather alerts there as well. Overnight temperatures in the 60s and 70s, and then you can go into tomorrow afternoon, triple digits all across the board. You want to go out to the High Sierra? We don't have those AccuWeather alerts there, but it is still going to be very warm. Isolated thunderstorm chances really all across the region. Then here in Fresno, we see all of that red back on the board. So over the next 4 days, we do have that, but even after that expires, 105.
As the Miami Marlins.
Wow.
So big day there for Cooperstown. Not everybody gets to go in there, but when you get your name called, special moment.
Oh yeah, good to see there.
Thanks, Alec. History continues to be made tonight in the wake of the sudden withdrawal of President Biden from the November election.
What's next in the race for the White House with the Democratic National Convention only weeks away?
In an overview now of our continuing coverage of the president's historic decision to drop out of the presidential race, more Democrats, including California leaders, are now supporting Vice President Kamala Harris, whose statement today said she wants to earn the nomination.
President Biden was under increasing pressure within his own party to drop out of the race after his disastrous performance in the debate with Republican nominee Donald Trump. Then today, President Biden's letter to America posted on X that he is standing down from his campaign. Now Democrats are calling on each other to unite behind Vice President Harris Even as ABC News reports, Senator Joe Manchin is considering re-registering as a Democrat to run against Harris for the Democratic presidential nomination. Republican vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance and other GOP members reacting tonight, saying if President Biden is not fit to run for president, he's not fit to serve as president. The Democratic National Convention is August 19th in Chicago.
Now to a quick programming note. Our West Coast coverage on President Biden stepping down from the 2024 presidential race continues with a special report from our Los Angeles sister station, KABC, at 6:30 tonight.
Then at 7, join the ABC News special Biden Stands Down, the race for the White House, right here on ABC30, and a complete wrap tonight, of course, on Action News Live at 11. We'll leave you with this live look from downtown Fresno now, and remind you to download that ABC30 mobile app to take us with you wherever you go.
From all of us here at ABC30, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great evening, and we'll see you right back here for Action News Live at 11.